Oh, a few things in the world make sense these days, but Jim Nantz calling golf at Pebble Beach, like, just sign me up. Anytime it can happen. It feels like perfection, feels like golf is back. This is the time of year where you really start to roll into the best courses, the best lineups. I've always been a West Coast golf fan, Johnson, and we get Pebble Beach. I don't think there's a place on the planet better in terms of golf, if you're a golf fan, than being in that area for a few days.
It's so special. And when the weather's good, I don't know that there's a better place on planet Earth. It's just, it's remarkable. There's so much great golf. There's some decent public golf in the area too. Pasatiempo, Poor Man's Pebble is a Pacific Grove Muni.
Pacific Grove, yeah.
That back nine is amazing. So yeah, it's a wonderful area. I'm happy to be here for a week.
Patrick, we kind of get the 1-2 punch. You think about Spyglass, you think about Pebble. Spyglass, typically the place that'll beat you up a bit. And then, of course, you get Pebble, depending on the weather. You can rip it apart. But the golf course, exceptional, of course. Signature this week, so we got all the big boys in the field.
Yeah, first one of the year. Although I feel like the PGA Tour has kind of been cooking in the full field events so far. Pumped to see my girl Condi out there, Condoleezza Rice with the Pro-Am section. She's always playing well. I think she was with Justin Thomas last year, perhaps. So hoping she puts a good charge in it. Obviously, former Browns head coach candidate back in the day. But yeah, like you mentioned, 2-course rotation. Pebble's sweet. It seems like the weather could get a little spicy on Sunday in particular with the wind pumping up there. I think, what was it, a couple years ago, went to 54 holes, obviously, with Wyndham Clark winning. But I'm pumped to see some guys have to hit some shots with these conditions.
Johnson, did you have a Pro-Am partner in your day that stood out, that was like the rock star of all rock stars in terms of somebody you got a chance to play alongside?
I never really played with any celebrities. I played with a couple guys that were board members of the PGA Tour, John B. McCoy, and then his son, John T. McCoy. Those were my studs that I played with. John B.'s got a house out here, so I used to stay with him, and it was
nice,
pretty sweet setup. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, close to the course. Well, Johnson, I mean, we talked so much about the front nine around Pebble Beach, obviously a place you can score and get those birdies basically through that first 7-hole run. You get to the back, and there's some difficult holes. There's not a ton of birdies to be had. I know you're going to take us through some of your favorite holes on the back nine.
Yeah, all the water holes clearly get the more glory, but I think starting at 12 is one of the greatest little stretches of golf. 12's par 3, 205 yards, downhill to an extremely narrow green. And the thing is, there's this flash of sand in this bunker. You're trying to just cover that front left bunker. So many balls will plug into the lip. If the greens are firm, this is one of the ones where you'll see people just one-hopping it right over the back and having a very delicate chip shot coming down. But absolutely one of my favorite par 3s that's not on an ocean. Well, directly on the ocean.
Yeah, I mean, you think about the old Fifth, or when it used to be kind of up into the land there, and then of course now you get this one. I mean, it's a difficult par 3, and then you flip over to the par 5, like a really unique, difficult par 5, a really 3-shot hole for most players.
It is for sure. And we saw Rory last year just take it directly over the trees and have iron into this par 5. But one of the wildest greens, I think, on planet Earth. You're playing a third shot from about 100 yards. It's a tabletop on the left and one of the most severe false fronts, this whole right side. It used to be anything on that right side would come off, but then they've managed to flatten it out and create a couple more hole locations up there on that back right.
Johnson, one of those wedge shots that back in the day when it was really severe, you talk about a nervy wedge shot from the middle of the fairway. I mean, you're just hoping to make par and move on.
100%. I mean, if the greens are soft, which they have been plenty of times, the ball's going to spin all the way off, but if it's firm and you one-hop it over the back, it's even worse. And now 16, pretty forgotten hole here, but I love it. It's a great little layup par 4 and another green complex here at Pebble Beach that's just got a severe amount of pitch. This time on 16, it goes from right to left. One of the most 3-putted greens out at Pebble Beach. They're small greens, so that's not generally a stat you see, but everything feeds down towards the left-hand side, and putting up the hill is brutal. It's a really demanding second shot, especially because it generally has a little into and left to right crosswind.
Johnson, it's a golf course where there's just no sleeper holes. I remember having a conversation with Brad Faxon back in the day when we were doing the U.S. Open for Fox, and I was talking about the first hole at Pebble, and I said, not my favorite hole, and Brad was like, oh, no, you got this all wrong. You got to hit the fairway. It's a really difficult approach shot, one of the most severe greens. It's one of those holes where, you kind of want to make 4, but it's really easy to make 5, and it's difficult to make a birdie, and it kind of changed my opinion of the first, but it's an 18-hole golf course where they're all kind of great, and some are obviously spectacular.
Yeah, it is one of the most special spots. I mean, when you get to the third green and you play basically 4 through 10 right on the coastline, it's just unbelievable. That first hole is one of my least favorite holes out there, just because I don't think I ever played it well. Because you're starting the day with an 8-iron into that green. Oof, no, thank you.
Yeah, Patrick, we've seen some interesting tee shots off the first as well. Was it Molinari a few years ago that hit the topper there at one? It was like a little cold. Yeah, a little thinny one off the top. My go-to line is you're not a great player unless you've thinned a 3-wood off a tee, especially a first tee. We've seen pretty much every pro do it. But it's a golf course, and I thought Rory kind of nailed it last year, Patrick, in terms of winning on a cathedral of golf. I love the fact that it's a signature event because it feels like it should be, right? I mean, the fact that there's all this history, the golf course, the majors, everything about Pebble screams importance in the game, and continuing and competing and potentially winning here. I mean, the list is pretty impressive when you look at who's won.
I'm really happy they decided to make this tournament a signature event because, I mean, even leading into it, the field was pretty bleak. The guys just didn't show up here at Pebble Beach. Obviously, you had the Pro-Am was a little bit different. It was a 3-course rotation, but just going back to 2023, I think the second favorite on the odds board was Tom Hoagie, which is wild to say. And Spieth was always the guy. DJ was always the guy before that too. And so it's just great that we're getting these players on a golf course like this. And this is really, I think, kind of the blueprint that the PGA Tour needs to use going into 27 and maybe how they change the schedule and with some of their playoff events. It's a pretty simple game plan, right? Your best players on historic golf courses with real stakes, and that's what we got this week.
Johnson, I've always wondered about the Pro-Am conversation with your amateur golfer. Like, what's the conversation in terms of picking the golf ball up? Do you have a conversation on the first tee about that, or is it just assumed if you're out of the hole, let's get going?
It's assumed if you're out of the hole, get going. I think the messaging that they have, that they get through the tournament, they're like, look, if you're making a double, if you're out of the hole, unless your partner's your pro's making an 8, pick it up. We've got to keep play moving. I always love playing this event. I took maybe 1 year off. It was always so much fun getting to meet so many different people. And I mean, that's how a lot of business relationships start for players too. So I agree. It's good to have the best players here, but it was a great event for the other guys too, because we always got in.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fun tournament. Again, it's going to be elevated this year, which we're excited about. Patrick, we're Pebble bound this week. Hit me with one of your storylines headed into the first signature event of 26.
I'm looking at one of those informed players to kind of level up their career and kind of alter the trajectory of it. It's been hitter after hitter so far through the first 4 weeks of the PGA Tour season, but we have guys like Ryan Gerard playing great golf, Siwoo Kim, Jake Knapp, like Johnson mentioned, Michael Thorbjornsen, Pearson Coody as well. And so we saw 8 different winners across the 8 signature events last year. And I'm really looking for one of those guys to really threaten the top of the leaderboard and contend and grab the biggest win of their young careers.
Would be fun. I mean, it seemed to be the theme this year, Patrick, in terms of informed players kind of keeping it going. We obviously saw that last week in Phoenix. Johnson, your focus is a little bit more on potentially maybe what's going to happen come Sunday at Pebble Beach.
It is, and even leading into the week, we're getting rain today, tomorrow, Wednesday. Tomorrow is Wednesday, excuse me. Isn't it? Yes, it is. Sorry. Yeah. When I just got out of the WM Phoenix Open, guys. I need a day. So wind, I've seen it hail. Like, it can be just horrendous weather around this golf course. How many times you mentioned that it was 54 holes a couple of years ago when Wyndham won, but back in the day, Dustin Johnson, there's been probably no other event that's been shortened to 54 holes more than this one. So hopefully we're not going to get it like that, but it could play a factor.
I'm interested in Scottie this week. I mean, there's so much focus on Scottie Scheffler, but Patrick, I was kind of going through the wins. Rory last year was talking about the whole cathedral of golf thing, and I was going through Scottie's wins, and won at some good golf courses. Obviously, he's won at Augusta National. He's won at Sawgrass. But the resume to me was kind of similar to what you see in terms of what Rory had won at in terms of golf courses. And I'm just thinking about Scottie adding a Pebble, Riv, things like that to the resume and picking up a win on a golf course that I think is a kind of a career maker when you win here in terms of non-major championship golf. I mean, do you agree in terms of the golf courses? Do the golf courses matter in terms of your resume if you're Scottie Scheffler?
Yeah, absolutely. I think they definitely matter where you win. And you look at the crossover between Augusta National and Pebble Beach, it's like just big name after big name, guys who have won tournaments there. Obviously, some of those came with U.S. Opens, but, Watson, Nicklaus, Woods, O'Meara, DJ, Spieth, too, for current players. So I think it definitely matters. And it was something Johnson touched on with Scottie's approach play. A lot of wedges this week, and I was looking at kind of the 50 to 125 yard bucket. Probably half of your approach shot might come from that range. He's averaging 20 feet in terms of proximity. It's about 5 feet more than he did in 2025. So if he can dial in those wedges early in the week, I think obviously he's going to have a great chance to add it. But that area to me is what you need to focus on with Scheffler.
I mean, if he has a bad week, he's going to finish fifth. So, he'll probably be there. But I'll be very interested in what we can see out of Scottie around Pebble Beach. Again, I just think about this stuff a lot in terms of the golf courses. And Johnson, I think as you get older as a player, you think about it more as well. I mean, obviously, it's been on Rory's mind the last couple of years. It's why he's adding some of these tournaments late in the year to go play and have a chance at places like, down in Australia. I mean, in Melbourne and stuff is an opportunity to win at places that are historic in the game.
Yeah, it's important. It's like winning at St. Andrews. I mean, Zach Johnson, is he going in the Hall of Fame? We talked about this last week. He's won the Masters in St. Andrews. Nobody that's ever done that is not in the World Golf Hall of Fame. Venues absolutely matter. But you don't think TBC Craig Ranch there in McKinney's is in McKinney, Texas,
Thank you, Johnson.
On the same level as Pebble Beach?
Johnson.
I mean,
just outside the top 20, I think, on my list. But we'll get into that list middle of the season. Johnson, when the season starts to wind down, we're going to be throwing stuff left and right at you. We're going to be making you make lists all over the place. Not the case when it's a signature week. So you don't have to do that. We did make you make picks. We're going to get into those next. Who's going to win? Who's not going to win? We've got some different names, I feel like, on our list. So that'll be the last segment after the break. All right, fellas, time to get our picks out there. Before we get into who's going to win, I want to start with who's not winning this week. Patrick, give me 3 names that aren't winning at Pebble Beach.
The European Ryder Cup team is not winning this week. All 12 of them.
Jeez.
Are they all? I think they're all in the field probably. But Rory McIlroy, Tommy Fleetwood coming over from Dubai. Didn't have the best starts over there. And then, honestly, I kind of like Matt Fitzpatrick this week, but I just needed a third European to round this out. And unfortunately, he was the one. So not a lot of science behind these picks.
God, bulletin board material again for the European players. They don't need that stuff. Johnson, who do you have not winning this week at Pebble?
Jordan Spieth, Wyndham Clark, and who was my third? Jordan Spieth, Wyndham Clark, and Brian Harman.
Yeah, you feel like Wyndham's kind of been on your list, and you've been nailing that. It's just not been playing great golf. Maybe we'll find some form at some point. I've got Ludwig. I don't think is going to win. I just don't really know what's going on there. Jordan Spieth as well on my list, and then Scottie Scheffler not winning this week. Put it on the list.
Blasphemy.
First time this year. Scottie's been on the can't win list. I'm sure that'll go well for me. Who is going to win? Johnson, I'm going to start with you. Who is winning, and also who's your pick?
I think Jake Knapp has been playing some great golf. I'm riding high for this guy right now. Chris Goddard, I'm not going to put it past him. It's a great fit for him too, especially like we said, if it gets soft. And then Scottie Scheffler, and Scottie Scheffler is my official pick.
Back-to-back weeks picking Scottie. Johnson kind of going with the odds. I think it's probably the smart move. Patrick and I not that smart. But, I mean, I think just leaning into the guy, you can't run out of picks, so might as well go Scottie. Patrick, who do you have potentially winning, and who is your pick to win?
I got Xander Schauffele again. It's kind of like the scene from the Titanic with the violinist playing and being like, it's an honor, gentlemen. We're going down with the ship at this point. Victor Hovland won his USAM here. Obviously, played great last week. Iron play looks really sharp. And then I'm with Johnson. Scottie Scheffler, he's kind of been alternating wins in top fives as of late. So it's a win week for Scottie.
All right, I got Victor as well. I like Tommy Fleetwood, and my winner, Maverick McNeely, played well last week in Phoenix. I think he plays well this week and picks up the win. You can catch coverage from Pebble with Johnson & Company Saturday, Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern on CBS and Paramount Plus. Excited for Pebble Beach.